Okay, so like I was saying, trying to say, let's talk about ADHD and storytelling. So let's see. For the last couple of years, I have, well, to be honest, to be fair, the couple of homes that I've lived in more recently have had issues with mold, and I didn't know it until like the last couple of months or so. So I'm in the process of moving right now to get into a fresher home because the mold issue is like it's just too big. But that can actually have an effect on your gut health, which affect and also your brain, your ability to focus and stuff. And I just thought it was just me and I was building bad habits or something like that. So and I don't have like a diagnosis, but I Google the symptoms, and there they all are. So ADHD is like either an inability to focus on one thing for a long period of time, or it's a hyper fixation on a thing that you can't get out of, even when it's like time to stop and go do something else. So one thing that I've ended up doing, and this sort of as it relates to my day job, one thing that I've ended up doing is teaching myself, or actually being grateful to have learned the practice of making a decision and getting something done, and then doing that very, very quickly, because we can end up procrastinating about decisions. And the more you learn to make decisions, the faster and easier it becomes to start trusting your gut, listening to yourself, and doing what just getting things done, keeping things moving. I think a difficulty with ADHD, I can't speak, I just speak for me, or procrastination is you don't know what to fix on, you don't know what to start doing, you don't know when to like stop doing something, and so you delay decisions or you don't even start. And so learning to make decisions really quickly and start with lots of little small things intentionally. I'm deciding this, I'm done, moving on. Learn to do that really quickly, and especially I have found with my job, I have become insanely efficient at my work because it's become extremely valuable for me to learn to ship things fast. Make a decision, get it designed, get it done, send it off to the client, don't go over it. Now, in my case with like graphic design, I've been doing that for 10 years, and so I've learned to develop a style, an approach, and I can trust my gut that when I do something, I think it's pretty good, and other people find value in it. But now, when it comes to writing, I'm like right back at sort of ground zero. I'm building up my sense of confidence in myself, and that's why doing these live streams is one thing that I am now doing as a way to sort of pull me into focus. So, when it comes to so for me and ADHD, there are some little sort of tactics and things that you can do to help you stay focused. In a more meta sense, what I've found is it can be, first of all, give yourself a lot of kindness and a lot of grace. Right? It can be very hard to be creative when you're in a survival mindset. Okay, like when your life or your environment feels unsafe. Let's say other people, other situations, all kinds of other pressures. If all of this is going on in like the left side of your brain, it can be really hard to literally send blood and nutrients over to the right side of your brain, because your body is like, we're not safe right now. We can't relax. And creativity is something that comes out of a space of peace and listening and awareness. And it's kind of hard to do that when your survival side is all kind of like, we got to pay taxes. We've got to get, I hate taxes. We've got to make money. We've got to, do whatever. Get the groceries done, clean the house, organize things, and so on. If you can find a way to organize some of those things or get help or have, the other thing that can also really help is just simply to have a friend or a community and be around other people. Sometimes we can get, again, ADHD is you hyperfixate over all the information coming in because you don't know maybe sort of how to weed it through. Or so I think journaling is an excellent thing to do. I don't do that a lot. I've done it now and then. Dream journaling is something that I now try to do like every single morning. First thing, as soon as I wake up, write down the dreams that I have with as much detail as possible. Mostly, I'm trying to teach myself the patience and the discipline of showing up for myself when I learn something. And especially as it relates to your dreams, that's like deep inner life stuff. And I'm trying to teach myself I have to show up for my inner life, because that's why we're here, is to cultivate that, to grow that, not just grow your body so that you can level up at your job and so on, but you're also, the main reason why you're here is to develop who you are as a human being. And it's your inner life that emerges through your imagination, through your dreams, through your writing, through the projects that you love, that move you, they pull on you from the inside. It's incredibly important to pay attention to those. So that's one little thing I do, is I try to dream journal every single day, and it makes it easier for me to remember things. I'm slightly calmer going into my day, because I've effectively told myself, I'm listening to you, I'm here. If you have something to say to me, I'm going to try to pay attention. And that's actually why we start. Sapito says, all my homies hate taxes. It takes a special kind of person to love them, I suppose. And like Sapito mentions as well, procrastinating. Fragwagon says, getting that ADHD feeling of freezing, wanting to do everything, feeling paralyzed. Like we do that. We do that a lot. So if you kind of deconstruct a little bit, like, why does some of that happen? It's like when you're running track, or somebody calls you to come, let's go hike a hill, and your body goes, heck no, I'm not prepped for that. It doesn't interest me. I don't want to do that, or I don't think that I can do that, and so you create all kinds of other excuses. Well, the same thing can also happen when it comes to your writing. There are all kinds of things that you can do for ADHD. There's medication, there's meditation, there's changing your diet, there's all kinds of other things, and I'm not going to get into all of that, because everybody has all of their own needs that, we're getting around this. So I'm going to keep trying to come back to writing. But procrastination can be a big thing. So what are some simple little things that I'm doing to help me stay butt in seat and then focusing on writing? I think the first thing is, what I'm choosing to do is pay attention to who I am. So this is something that I didn't know about until the last year, which is something called a chronotype. We have personality types, but we also have sleep patterns, times of the day when we have peak energy and creativity, and times of the day when we're like ideally meant to be asleep. And I think there's about like 4 kinds of people. You can Google chronotypes and sort of find out your own. But there are some people who have the sort of best amount of energy and creativity early in the morning. I think that's like the bear type, which is me. Then there's the lion type, which is when you get the most amount of like energy to do stuff around midday. The later one was, I think, is the wolf, I think. And that's like evening, when you get evening energy. And then there's another one, which is like, you would think would be the owl, which would be late time, but for some reason it's like a dolphin, because you get spots of energy kind of whenever you want. And it's fascinating to think about how all this works from an evolutionary standpoint. Having different members of the tribe have peak energy at different times of the day is an amazing way to spread work around the tribe, in terms of like who's on watch, who's getting jobs done. So that also then means when you have peak energy time, you have a sleep schedule time. So for me, it's actually really good for me to be down when the sun goes down. So about 9 o'clock, I am trying to, on a good day, I am trying to keep to a schedule. 9 o'clock, I am closing my eyes, putting my hoodie down to create like an eye block, keep all the light out, put my phone in airplane mode, and just rest and just try to go to sleep. That then means I have more energy in the morning. I can get up a little earlier. I love morning. And this is what we're here. We're dawn breakers. So that's actually kind of one thing. A good sleep schedule, a good sleep hygiene allows you to have energy at the point of the day when you're ready to be using it, when you want to be using it. And then when you do have that, and I think here's kind of the cool thing, spend that energy, if you can, on the thing that is most meaningful to you. Now, your job may be super meaningful to you, your family, your projects or something. It is probable that the thing that you absolutely love doing, that brings you life, it's probable that you're not actually doing that thing. And it's quite possible that's the reason why you're here, is to explore that, because that might be your contribution to yourself, to others. And it's something to develop that only you can and nobody else will. So if you can, I don't know, I don't want to tell anybody else, and just say what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I've chosen, for example, unless it's like really important, I will not freelance in the mornings. I'm going to try to write in the morning, because creative writing for me brings me life and energy and excitement, and I am teaching myself that I am here to show up for me because that's kind of my job. So, so that's kind of like a lifestyle sort of thing as you adapt to your lifestyle a little bit. Then, two, when it comes to the actual experience of sitting down and writing, you can find a piece of music, which is kind of what we chatted a little bit about today. You find a piece of music that really inspires you. Now, I will end up spending way too much time looking for like the perfect soundtrack or the perfect piece of music or an album that fits the book I'm trying to write. But for me, I know if I front load that amount of time and attention on the thing, then all I have to do is hit play, and my mind will, and heart, everything will instantly go, we're here to write this story. So I've got this one piece of music that I queue up from, it's an album called Dragon or something. And as soon as I put that on, all of the scenes that I've ever written and all of the feels that I've ever had about that novel that I'm working on, they all come back, and I'm instantly back in that world, back in that zone. There are some soundtracks I cannot now listen to that I used to listen to over and over and over and over while I was working on previous novels, because I will get all choked up trying to everything wants to go back and just re-immerse in that the epicness of that novel and whatever. So that's kind of one thing. Find a piece of music. Find a dedicated space. This is what I'm trying to do here. Create a schedule with yourself, a dedicated time, and if it's possible, to do it with your when you do have that energy. Now, that may just not be for anybody, and it may just be smarter to use that energy for things that are very important, and then you just carve out time when you have it. But I think having a schedule, our bodies, they work in cycles. Okay, they don't function well when things are erratic and unscheduled and things aren't working well. It's not just that we're creatures of habit. Humans can only live when there are structured habits in our lives, when our bodies can then quite literally rest because we're in rhythm with every day and things are normal. That's what feels like safety. And when your body can rest and feel like safe and count that I'm going to get my meals at the same time, I'm going to go to sleep, I'm going to wake up at the same time, when there's that easy rhythm going, then that frees up your creativity and your mind to quite literally get the nutrients, but more importantly, the awareness and the time that it needs for it to come and show up for you. So in a very similar way, I'm sitting down here and showing up for myself every single day and trying to write. Now, last thing, as somebody with ADHD, the other thing that I'm also trying to do to force myself to quite literally show up and do all of this, because I will very easily not, or read, or who am I kidding, try to play a game, because there are some awesome games out there, or movies. I love watching movies. So how do I guarantee for myself that I'm going to show up? Well, I have to think about what could I do that would do multiple good things at once for me. And in my case, running a live stream has been awesome for helping more people to discover the work I'm doing with legend fiction, or I should say the ludicrous epic fun I'm trying to have with legend fiction and that community. So that's one, which I think is a valuable, wonderful project that, who knows, could save the world through fiction. So that's one, doing something that I deeply believe in, that I think is valuable and good. Two, showing up and doing stuff with other people. For me, the feeling of knowing other people are just there, and it might not be on the live stream, it could be afterwards. Again, that feels like I'm not alone, and it's easier for me to show up for something because other people are also attentive to it. They also want it. They're also showing up for it. All right, so now that's two things. Then there's my own creativity, my own desire to be wanting to do these things. So these are three really big things, putting all three of those together. Hey, we're going to save the world. We're going to do it with friends, and it's going to really matter. Then, I feel like, okay, it's worth putting in the effort, putting in the mental muscle to show up every single day that I can. and get this done, because there's three sort of important things that can now happen. So as far as from a storytelling standpoint, what I've done is like I've raised the stakes for myself and made it feel more and more important. But then that's kind of what I do, is like I like things to be dramatic. At least when it comes to my personal goals, I like things to happen quickly. I like them to be really dramatic. I like to save the world and help people and have fun doing it. The other thing that's probably also a very good idea is to create like a reward system for yourself. So have a drink something that you enjoy, eat something that you enjoy, reward yourself after a session, like grab a snack or some cookies or chocolate or a thing that you enjoy doing. Quite literally, it's like you're training your dog to sit or to do something. As soon as he does the good thing, you reward him, you give him a treat. You quite literally do that with your body. You're going to Pavlov yourself into doing the thing that you want to do, which is kind of hilarious. But that's actually, we don't actually pay enough attention to the genius of our bodies and what it has to communicate to us. We're abstracted, we're disassociated, we're like off somewhere else, and the body's like, heck, you need to be paying attention to me and doing this, and we're like, I'm trying to be over here. Okay, let's come back and be a little more holistic and stuff. Anyhow, I think so there's a couple of thoughts. Music gets my audio going. Create a nice environment for yourself, a nice, neat environment that cues up your eyes. Have a little tea or something to drink. That's your taste buds. So you incorporate more of your body. Make sure that you're rested. Have a good sleep cycle. Find out what your sleep cycle is. Zapito asks, is there an online test? Yeah, just Google Chronotype. There's an official one. There's probably a couple of other ones that other people are doing. So it's free online. You should be able to find that out. You can also just read them and get a sense of who you are. All of that creates the conditions for you to be able to kind of relax and show up for yourself. ADHD can be an inability to focus because everything else in your system is so scattered and fragmented and anxious and so on. There can be all kinds of other issues like poor sleeping, teeth, or diet, or stuff happening in your life, trauma responses. There's all kinds of things. But if you're trying to show up for your writing, I'd recommend little things like that, largely because it's what every author does anyway, is you show up, you condition yourself, or you invite yourself along to enjoy the process, and then reward with that. And then when it's done, then put it down, walk away, and get into the rest of your day. So I hope this was helpful. I would love to know how you are handling ADHD and creative writing, that sort of thing. Let me know in the comments. Drop it down. How do you feel with ADHD? How does writing make you feel to really get into something that feels fun and meaningful to you? How often are you able to do it? Do you find it really hard? Do you procrastinate a bunch? And if you found ways around that, let's go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'd really love to see what other people are getting up to, how you're getting around it. It might be really helpful for me, and I might start testing some of these things, and we might just continue doing what we're doing here, building a chill writing community where we write together, check in with each other, see how we're doing, support each other, that sort of thing. So if this was helpful, please hit the like button right now. If you like it a lot, you can hit it 2 more times. Subscribe. That's going to help me continue to show up for you, because writing is something I'm trying to do every day, and every day that I can, I'm going to continue showing up and live streaming, and we can just see what sort of writing we can do together.